Welcome back to the Unacceptable News. I'm your host, Justin Bush. My lumps, my lovely lady lumps. Check them out. We have breaking news today. It appears that Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi, is dead. Now, this is unconfirmed at this point. There was a helicopter crash with the president involved. Many news outlets in the region are declaring him dead already, or there is some sort of internal leak from the government that he is now deceased. This means that the supreme ruler will have to put another president in his place. I don't see this being a major change to the Iranian regime. We only bring it up because of the tension between Israel and Iran. We know that there's been many escalations in the near past, and this type of internal change to a regime of a foreign country can really dictate how international politics moves forward. And with the tension in the region, it could be an indicator of further escalation depending on who they might put in the president's position if he is in fact dead. Now, here's a UFO, because I know you guys like that. And our real story today is about some allegedly leaked documents. They leaked out on Twitter. These documents are from January 30th, 2019 at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So this is supposedly a message between Scott Pace, the Executive Secretary of National Space Council, and the President and Vice President of the United States at the time, Donald Trump and Mike Pence. This is sort of an overview of the situation, the UFO situation at the time, what they believe they should do, how they believe they should move forward. These are, if corroborated, these are explosive documents. They revolve around Chris Mellon, Lou Elizondo, the ATIP program, ALSAP, all of those programs, as well as the people in those programs or who were once in those programs, how this is being communicated to the president and the vice president's staff, and allegedly the Defense Intelligence Agency. So I'm going to read this to you. It's several documents. It's very long. Feel free to go look this up on Twitter. You can click off of the video. There's absolutely no reason for you to sit around and watch this. But I'm going to read them, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit about these documents as we go. So it says, to Scott Pace, Executive Secretary of National Space Council, and it CC'd President Donald J. Trump, Vice President Mike Pence. Due to the leaks of DIRD's Defense Intelligence Research documents, so the DIA, from DIA ALSAP, okay, AAWSAP, James T. Lakatsky, attention, CLAR/DWO/-3, Building 6000, Washington, D.C., and then it gives the area code. Now it says, exposure associated with ATIP, and then Lou Elizondo, critical international defense capabilities have been exposed critical international defense capabilities have been exposed in relation to new science applications and groundbreaking disruptive emerging technologies, which must be developed first and most robustly and optimally with the United States of America and allies, Canada, and potentially all of the Five Eyes, or as necessary, all of NATO. Failure at this pivotal moment could have stupefying implications for the United States of America and her allies in all major geopolitical arenas, including, but not limited to, global politics, finance, and national security. No doubt there is a frantic international race to acquire the technologies displayed by the Advanced Aerospace Vehicles, AAVs. And I believe they use that exact same terminology in the DIA report that outlines the physiological effects on human beings from close encounters with these aerial vehicles. So I believe they used AAV, but they substituted the advanced part with anomalous. So instead of saying advanced aerial vehicle, they used anomalous aerial vehicle. And they also talked about the energy systems involved in these vehicles and their physiological effects on human beings. So that's interesting. They're using the exact same acronym with a slightly different first word. So instead of anomalous, they're using advanced. There could have been a change. This was from 2019. That DIA report was written in 2010. So that means that they could have, instead of using anomalous, there could have been essentially a debriefing that let people know, like, these aren't anomalous craft, these are simply advanced craft, and here's what these craft are. So they might have kept the acronym but changed the definition of the acronym the same way they did with UAP. UAP used to be unidentified aerial phenomena, but I believe they changed it to, it used to be unidentified anomalous phenomena, and then they changed it to unidentified aerial phenomena. They used the acronym interchangeably throughout the government. So one agency might say UAP and they mean anomalous because they're not read in, they don't know what it is. And then another agency might use UAP, but they mean advanced. So anomalous advanced phenomena or whatever, anomalous aerial phenomena. Anyway, that's just an interesting tidbit. So it says advanced aerospace vehicles that penetrate our atmosphere, airspace, and oceans with impunity. Given the state of fidelity of modern surveillance and sensor equipment, there is no longer any way to deny their existence. Understandably, their presence spurs every major nation's desire for such useful and dynamic abilities. The purpose of this paper is to identify these abilities as well as to show the Geometric Energy Corporation, so GEC, all right, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and our partner Public Benefit Corporation in Huntsville, Alabama, the Institute for Exotic Science, are uniquely placed, equipped, staffed, and otherwise prepared to provide crucial data and insight into the topic while being uniquely prepared to deliver such critical new technologies to benefit the United States of America and her allies. GEC has three main areas of value in this regard: state-of-the-art equipment and facilities at a variety of locations, as well as the facility used to access in relation to ongoing theoretical and experimental development. Number 2, active research into revolutionary power, control, and propulsion systems with immense value and usefulness to the United States of America and her allies. Now it goes on. So see this next part. There are 3 of these. Number 3, here we are. A new subprogram called PSYCHIC. So like psychic. PSIKICK. PSYCHIC. And I don't think when they do these stupid acronyms like this, they know what they're doing. Like nobody wrote that down by accident. Like they're using psi as in psychic, like psychic phenomena. Very interesting. But anyway, PSYCHIC inside UAVMC described below. So remember that, UAVMC. All right, described below. Based on the major national defense vulnerabilities of the United States of America and every other nation created by these advanced aerospace vehicles discovered by AUSAP and ATIP and listed in Figure 1. All right, Slide 9 from the Christopher Mellon leak of the Congressional Briefing Package from TTSA, To the Stars Academy. So his congressional briefing, part of it was leaked. Now that means that somewhere out there, this so-called Slide 9 exists, and we need to see. I need to see it. All right, I need to know because it says right here that they discovered these capabilities, and Slide 9 apparently shows what these capabilities are. I guess by the way it's reading, but anyway, not important. Oh wait, here is Slide 9. Excuse me. They've got a little picture of it. It says Slide 9 DoD threat scenarios, ATIP subfocus areas. It says the scenario exists for an enemy in the United States to manipulate both physical and cognitive environments in order to penetrate U.S. facilities, influence decision makers, and comprise national security, psychotronic weapons, cognitive human interface, penetration of solid surfaces. I'll say that one more time. Penetration of solid surfaces. If you bend space-time, so guess what? Nothing's solid. There's no such thing as solid, right? I'll give you an example. If I'm standing here and there's a wall and I bend space, I can move myself past the wall without ever going through the wall, right? Have you ever heard of how atoms are really far apart? When we look deep at atoms, they're not actually touching each other. They're actually kind of interlocked. The energy is interlocked them like two magnets, if you want to think of it that way. If you bend space, you can open up anything, right? You can pull the atoms apart if you think of it that way and just step on right through. Like solid matter means nothing when you start manipulating space-time, so this slide 9, very interesting. So penetration of solid surfaces, instantaneous sensor dismemberment or disassemble, So any sensors you have, guess what? We can just take them over. No reason for you to even have sensors anymore if you have this technology. Alteration, manipulation of biological organisms. So the manipulation of genetics itself, okay? Anomalies in space-time construct, okay? So if you're detecting anomalies in space-time, if you have any capability of detecting anomalies in space-time, then you could essentially, let's say somebody's using one of these technologies and you could detect it, well, you can be there as soon as they pop up, right? So if you want to defend, let's say, a military base, well, guess what? We can now detect that you are bending space and we can show up, right there where you come out, and we can deal with you accordingly. So that's could be a defensive or offensive weapon, depending on the way you use it, but it's interesting. Unique cognitive human interface experiments. So we know that it has been widely reported that the alien craft, you can touch them, the craft can talk to you, that it can communicate with you telepathically somehow. I've experienced this personally. So these craft are designed in such a way, it's almost as if however the human mind, whatever information systems the human mind is using, it's almost as if it's like if you have a computer and you plug in a memory card or something, like you have direct access to the system itself by an unknown means. So I can't tell you how it works, but I can tell you touch some of this technology, it will talk to you. It will show you things. It will show you like a little movie, like this is where I came from, or this is another solar system, or something. It communicates directly with the human mind somehow. And so even more interesting that this was a briefing given to Congress, a closed door briefing given to Congress about the technical capabilities of these craft. So we'll move on. Figure 1, slide 9. So it shows slide 9. No big deal there. AAVs have interfaced with and outright disabled nuclear launch systems on numerous occasions. And then it goes into Robert Salas's story. He, a former Minuteman missile launch officer at Malmstrom Air Force Base. He held a press conference, 2010, addressed the issue. Yeah, so he was there. I mean, we can just jump over that. UFO shows up, disables all our nukes. That's not good, right? So if somebody's got the technology, it doesn't matter who it is, we need to get on it. We need to develop it. We need to develop defenses for it, right? This is what this whole briefing basically is. It's like, here's how we move forward to deal with this technology, the emergence of new revolutionary technology. So it says, research based on AAWSAP ATIP findings. As part of their investigations, AAWSAP ATIP issued at least 38 research contracts in a variety of cutting-edge fields, including to be released 490-plus page report on the DIA FOIA officer Anthony Keenan provided mention of existence of in a personal communication to Geometric Energy Corporation. The research paper topics alone, and then we'll have to move over. Alone power for I don't know if we're missing some pages here. It looks like we might be. But maybe it's this right here. Alone would require increased security assurance on relation to blank. They didn't disclose some information. disclosure and an in-person discussion at WHO. So why are we discussing this with WHO, the World Health Organization? It's kind of interesting. EOP, I don't know that acronym. So we'll have to find out in the comments. Just let me know, what is EOP. With relevant parties to receive further information and engage with proceeding on these ARPs and ARPD reporting with disclosure to WHO, EOP, including other programs and intelligence of great interest, assuming the nature of the subject matter. So whatever. So I might have skipped something. So let's try this. Maybe I have these out of order. The research paper topics alone: power for non-local psi systems, exploiting quirks of physics, and the capabilities to address the vulnerability discovered by ATIP, as shown in Figure 1, Slide 9. We have a variety of programs at GEC. Oh, come on. Why are we doing this? Excuse me, let me try again. We have a variety of programs at GEC called our Advanced Research Programs, which are analogous to a variety of DIA, ALSAP, DoD, ATIP areas of interest. Right, so it's basically saying we've got a bunch of programs already that's doing this stuff. So here we go. We introduced the Autonomous Quantum Computational Analysis Program, wherein autonomous quantum entangled communications and autonomous quantum computing are researched in the context of utilizing organic molecules in automation technology. Right, did you hear that? You touch the ship and it talks to you. So they're talking about a computer interface with organic molecules, okay? That's very interesting. Quantum tomography of negative energy states in a vacuum. So quantum mapping, which is also equally interesting. And then it says IoT networks in post-quantum cybersecurity of legacy infrastructure. Well, that's self-explanatory. You've got a bunch of networks. Quantum is going to hack. They've already created quantum computers, and they've already created programs within these quantum computers. They're so intelligent, they're so fast, they can compute so fast that they can essentially hack any system. Like an older system can't stand up against this quantum computing technology. So they're basically saying we need to implement security procedures to protect legacy infrastructure, which, obviously. Let's see. Further development, excuse me. The goal of that program, AQCAP, is to facilitate the existence of AQEC and AQC applications in the commercial, aerospace, and communications industry. We are inviting collaborators and jointly work with public development. Quantum is also called Autonomous Quantum Computational Analysis, furthering the development of programmable matter and claytronics. And then it says with LDP/MELD implementations of self-reconfigurable molecular robots. So let me just say that one more time. Programmable matter, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So take a piece of whatever rock, and then you manipulate it so that way it can restructure itself. You can create a robot out of organic matter, and you can essentially get it to build you whatever you want and operate the way you're talking about programming matter itself, right? When we talk about the matrix and stuff like that, like if you consider this a real universe, you're made out of atoms. They're talking about programming you, right? Material, right? So now you're, a dinosaur, and your DNA is going to reconfigure you into a velociraptor. It's very, very interesting. So let's keep going. Claytronics is also called programmable matter and claytronics. Manufacturing feasibility of negative gradient index optics and negative permittivity. I don't know what that is, what a negative gradient index optic is, but it's very interesting words. So that's nice. Negative gradient index optics. So maybe they're talking about mapping this so-called negative energy. They're talking about quantum tomography of negative energy. So perhaps they're talking about some way of creating optics to collect information on this negative energy field or negative energy state. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I could not tell you. But it goes on to say even cooler things. Metamaterials for invisibility cloaking, also called invisibility cloaking. Well, as it should be, I suppose. And the detection of high resolution tracking of vehicles at hypersonic velocities, determination of signature reduction, lift, propulsion, and inertial shielding of unknown TOIs. Well, you would probably want to shield if you have these sorts of technologies flying around. You probably want to shield. I have to blow my nose, but we're in the middle of this thing, so we're just going to finish her up, okay? If these are real documents, if this is verified, right? Which is, I mean, they seem fairly legitimate already. If this is a real verified document leak from within inside the Trump White House, this is some of the most explosive, admissions that we've heard, because it's not, when Chris Mellon comes out and talks about things, he's not releasing much evidence besides a few grainy videos from fighter craft. No offense to him. If this is a real document, it shows internally that they are working on this secretly, that they're not letting the public know, like, yeah, we figured it out, and yeah, we can't stop the flow of information. We are working hard to get on top of all this technology to implement these programs, in quantum computing, in invisibility cloaking, in negative, energy, in a vacuum tomography. They're trying to figure out, to map negative energy. Like, if this is legitimate, it shows how much they know, how much they don't know, and what they're doing about it. So this is the most interesting document dump I've seen in some time. Regardless of whether it's true or not, somebody had to go through a long, somebody had to spend a lot of time and effort into making these documents, regardless of how true they may or may not be. And something gives me the feeling that this is a legitimate document dump, and I'm all here for it. And that's the news. If you'd like to support our channel, go to the description or in the pinned comment down below. That's the unacceptable news. Don't like, don't subscribe, just run.